Hi, you're listening to This Is Not Your Practice Life. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friends. I'm a certified life and emotional intelligence coach. And if you really want to step into your highest self, there are a few non-negotiables you're going to have to learn, and I am just the person to help you do it. No matter your past, I'm here to help you create a more fulfilling future. So stick around with me. Not only will I teach you how to navigate your brain's daily mind drama, but I'll help you actually understand your mind, your emotions, why you do the things you do, and why others do the things they do. Most importantly, I'll help you build the self-awareness skills to create whatever results you want. It's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. After all, this is not your practice life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. I'm Macy and I am thrilled that you are joining me this morning from wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for being here. All right, we're going to get started on today's topic, but before we do, I just want to quickly remind you that you can still sign up for the hybrid experience from now through June 23rd, 2023. So you have until Friday at midnight to get your little booty into this next round if you're interested in the early enrollment, which allows you to join with a payment plan. So basically, once this enrollment closes, the only option left to be able to join the program for next round, which starts in October, is to pay in full. So if you've wanted to get in the room, but you've needed a little bit of help getting yourself in the room and you need the payment plan, now is the time to do that. I'm also working on something very special because for some reason this next round I think is attracting people who have their own business already or want to start their own business. And I am working on a special additional workbook for our one-on-one calls where you can dive into all things business related. The current workbook has some business stuff, but as someone who has now built their business to 6 figures, I get asked quite frequently varying questions about like how I did it and what do you need to do and what are the steps and all of the things that people have questions about. And so I wanted to build a workbook that not only gave you a lot of knowledge and hopefully a place where you'll learn way faster than I did, but also a lot of prompting and things to work through for yourself that's keeping you maybe from having the success in your business or even getting started. So if you believe that that would be beneficial to you, then make sure you get into this next round. That'll be included in this next round as an extra bonus for anybody that, kind of wants to focus more on the business side. And just remember that the hybrid experience is for both personal and professional growth. It strengthens your emotional intelligence and teaches you who you have to be to get what you want, more so than the how. So we cover a little bit of how, but it's more so shaping who you're going to have to step into to create the life that you really desire, both personally and professionally. All right, we're going to talk about a little bit of this today because I put out a poll in my Instagram a couple weeks ago now where I shared I wanted to do a masterclass, and I am going to do a masterclass. I will actually be prepping for a masterclass this week. So as a secondary PS, if you like free masterclasses and you've ever attended one in the past or you want to attend one in the future, go to macyrenee.com and make sure you're on my email list because that is where I send out all of the information that you need to register and sign up. It's always completely free and people really enjoy them. So I'm getting ready to start a masterclass based on a topic that someone submitted that I really think would be valuable for the masses. And there were some other submissions that came through that I think are also very beneficial for the masses. And what we're going to talk about today is a blend of 3 different suggestions that came through for what people wanted a masterclass on. But I think more than just a masterclass audience, I think the world probably needs this topic, especially because it comes up so often for my clients, for people that I know in my everyday life, friends, family, that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about it. And the three that came in, let me just read off the, titles of what they wanted. The first one was how to stay disciplined. So you're in the right place if you feel like you struggle with discipline. The second one was how to stay committed to do the things you say you want, but then you don't take action. Also something that I think relates a lot to discipline, right? Commitment, discipline. I started to see a little pattern here. And then another person wrote in and said they want to know how to stop procrastinating. And between these three, it was like three variations of what I think are very similar things. So how do I stay disciplined? How do I stay committed? How do I stop procrastinating? The overall message of this is that there's something that I desire or I want in my life. There's something that I want to be different or to change or grow in, and I'm self-sabotaging. Like when people send this in, that's ultimately what they're telling me. I'm self-sabotaging. So we're going to address that today. And it's going to be a little bit of tough love because there is no easy way to, make this change. The human mind is not built for, you to have a super happy life. It's built for you to survive. So I want to explain what that means because there are going to be times in your life, obviously, where you feel extremely happy. And there are going to be times in your life where you don't. And I just want to remind you that the brain's job isn't actually to make you happy and create this amazing dream life. Your brain's job and the reason that it exists is to keep you safe and to be as efficient as possible using the least amount of energy possible. So what does that mean whenever you also have the capability and potential to be great, but your brain doesn't necessarily want you to do that? Well, it means you submit questions like, how do I stay disciplined? How do I stay committed whenever there's something that I want, but then I don't do it? How do I stop procrastinating? That is the result of a very comfortable brain, okay? So you have almost like this split, I don't want to say split personality because that's not what I mean, but it's kind of like the angel and the devil, right? That could be on your shoulders. It's like the angel sees your potential, sees the dream, the vision, what life could be if you got out of your own way. It can show you like a perfect, theatrical experience that you could have. And then the devil on your shoulder is kind of like, why would we do that when we're okay? We're surviving. We're not thriving maybe the way we want to be, but we're at least surviving. We don't have to work too hard. We don't have to think too hard. There's nothing, super big we have to challenge ourselves with. We don't have to feel very uncomfortable. We get to kind of feel safe here. Why in the world would you screw that up, right? That's what the devil on our shoulder often says. And that is what your brain is designed to do. Again, spend the least amount of energy possible. So your brain is really there to keep you in survival. And a lot of people live their life that way, where they're surviving and it kind of gets mundane. And even if they want more, they can't seem to get themselves a lot of times to change or to stick with things that start to change. And the biggest reason is just because your brain spends 95% of its power doing autopilot things. So whatever you've told it, whatever you have taught it, whatever thoughts that you've thought over and over and over again about yourself, about who you are, about what you can do, about what you can't do, those are the things that become autopilot. So if you've told yourself for years, it never works, I'm never able to lose the weight, I'll never be able to make more money, I'm never going to have the life that I want, I'm never going to have the time, I'm never going to meet the right person or be happy. Like if those are the things that are circulating your brain more time than not, then that's what your brain is going to create from, okay? It's going to take all of that information that is now autopilot because you have regurgitated that so many times, whether internally or out loud, and it's going to use that information to create all of your results. So I'm going to give you the steps that it takes in order for you to rewire this pattern. And the first thing you're going to have to just get through your mind is that it is not meant to be easy. It isn't going to be easy. And you're going to have to fight like hell for whatever it is that you want. Not because it has to be hard, okay? It can be simple, but you have to be onto your brain. And you have to be so onto your brain that when it tries to sabotage you, instead of being like, oh, there's my brain sabotaging me again, you have to call it out and say, okay, brain, I see that you're trying to sabotage me. It's not cool. It's not going to work. I have way more power over you than you have over me, and I'm making different decisions now. This is not who we're going to continue to be. Thank you for protecting me, and please get out of my way because I'm creating something different for myself. You are going to have to be stern with the parts of you that want to stay the same. Okay? So the first question that I think is very valuable in answering, how do I stay disciplined? How do I stay committed to do the things I say I want, but then I don't do them? And how do I actually stop procrastinating? I want you to get really clear and answer this question. Why don't you want the thing? So for instance, if someone tells me they want to lose, let's say 25 pounds, and then every single day that they try, they're, going to the pantry and they're eating cookies and they're avoiding working out, and they could go to the gym. They have time to go to the gym, but they don't. And they sit and they watch Netflix, and then they scroll on social media, and then they beat themselves up for everything they're not doing. And then they get it together for maybe 4 days in a row, but they mess up, right? I'm quoting there. They mess up and eat a cookie. Then they shame themselves for eating the cookie, right? That's the pattern that I'm talking about. And the important question to ask yourself is, why don't you want to lose the 25 pounds? Because sneakily enough, your brain has a reason that it's sabotaging. One of the reasons could be that the work you would have to do to rewire this version of yourself appears to be very hard, right? Your brain is telling you it's going to be hard, or your brain is telling you it's never going to work because it has never worked in the past, or, I suck at this. I don't get anything right. I'm a failure. Those are stories, okay, that your brain is telling you, and they protect you from what you really want. And what you really want is maybe to lose 25 pounds. And I want you to challenge and ask yourself, why wouldn't you want to lose the 25 pounds? Okay, so you might be able to give me the reasons why you do want to lose 25 pounds, which may be, I want to feel good in my body. I want to be healthier for my family. I want to fit in the clothes that I like. I liked the way that I looked in this photo from 10 years ago, or whatever. You can have reasons why you want to lose the 25 pounds, but what are the reasons you don't want to lose the 25 pounds? Because there is a sneaky underlying reason that is keeping you from going for the thing you say you want, but your actions don't match your words. And when I'm digging in this with my clients, right? And we're doing a lot of digging on well, why don't you actually want it? What would it mean if you lost the 25 pounds? It's amazing what your brain will dig up if you provide the space for it to be honest. And sometimes it's, I won't recognize myself or my life anymore. Sometimes it's, I want to be able to enjoy life, and I'm afraid I'll never be able to eat a cookie or brownie again without failing and going backwards. Sometimes it's even deeper than that. And I have had so many women that I've worked with over the last 5 years that have said, if I lose the weight, I'm worried about being found attractive. And I had sexual abuse at some point in their life, right? And they have gained the weight as a trauma response and a protective mechanism in hopes that they will never be hurt again. Okay, so they might want to lose 25 pounds to look better, to feel better, or to fit in their clothes or to be healthy. But there's also a reason why subconsciously they don't want it. Okay, and it applies to so much more outside of weight, right? It could be money. So I see this come up a lot in working with entrepreneurs, coaching entrepreneurs. They might tell me they want to make $500,000 a year. Everything in their behavior, though, will go the opposite of making $500,000 a year. And it's like your brain is telling you you want it. You're telling me you want it. So why aren't you making $500,000 a year? And again, going back to that question, actually, why don't you want to make $500,000 a year? When you ask, why don't I want it? It offers up those protective responses that are there trying to keep you safe. So in this situation, I've had people tell me, I don't want to make $500,000 because it means that my audience has grown and it opens me up to more criticism. It might mean that I have to pay more taxes and I feel flustered about all the people that I'll have to hire and how to do taxes at that level, and it scares me, right? There's so many different reasons why people will self-sabotage. And a lot of times, surface level wise, it'll be like, oh, well, I'm not making $500,000 because I'm not doing Facebook ads, or I'm not, showing up in my business every day. And it might be little things like that. But when we get to the deeper root of the issue, a lot of times it's the fear of becoming that version of themselves. It's the fear of, oh my God, what if I one day do have a $500,000 business and I can't sustain it, or I go backwards, or I mess up on taxes, or I, hire people to help me and then the money doesn't come in and then I have to fire people. Like, those things require a different version of you. And if your brain starts freaking out ahead of time, or what I call failing ahead of time for something that hasn't happened, it's going to subconsciously tell you you don't want it. Okay. And so you will continue to self-sabotage. So again, I'm going to just repeat the question that you need to ask yourself if you're self-sabotaging, if you're not being disciplined, if you are not being committed to what you say you want, and if you are procrastinating on what you say you want, you need to ask yourself, why don't I want insert whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve? Why don't you want it? And I want you to list all of the reasons of why you don't want it and what you think will happen if you actually get it, and call out your brain. Okay? The second thing that you need to be asking yourself if you are in this kind of self-sabotaging behavior is, who do I need to be? So many people focus on the how questions. How do you build your business? How do you lose the weight? How do you keep going whenever you feel like you want to quit? How do you start a podcast? There's all of these how-to questions. And the most powerful question that you can ask in place of that is, who do I need to be in order to make it happen? Because I will tell you that you are not going to be able to be the same version of yourself that you're being right now. So, as in early examples, the version of you that loses 25 pounds requires a different level of thinking and being than the version that you are being today. The version of you that makes $500,000 a year is not the same version of your brain and skill set as the version of you maybe making $75,000 today or $100,000 today, right? For me, my goal one day is to be able to scale my business to $1 million. The version of me that exists right now is not going to be the version that I have to be in order to make $1 million. My skill set's going to have to grow. My actions are going to have to change. Who I decide to be in my day-to-day is going to have to be playing at a different level than I am even now, at the income level that I'm at now. Okay, so whatever your goal is, whatever it is that you say you want, but you're self-sabotaging, just know the brain that you're currently operating in right now today cannot be the same version that's going to obtain the next level version of yourself, the version that you're wanting. And that's a PS of why having a coach is so valuable in your life, because your brain is not designed, again, to make you happy or to achieve all of the things that you want. Your brain is designed to do the bare minimum, to save the most energy, and to keep you safe. So if you are left alone with your brain, it is going to take you down a lot of times the opposite path you actually want to go. So putting yourself in rooms that have similar like-minded people also hungry to make their dreams and passions happen, even with humanness that's going to inadvertently show up, is very, very powerful, because you need someone to point out your blind spots and someone to see what you're doing to yourself and call it out so that the awareness is there, because you can't change anything without the awareness that you're doing it and why you're doing it. Okay, if you don't catch that within yourself, which it's very hard for us to see our own blind spots. Think of, the blind spot mirror. Without it, you have to be extremely diligent. If you don't have those little sensors that tell you someone's right there, if you don't have the little blind spot mirror on your car that tells you or shows you that someone is like right at your tail, right next to you, it's so easy to miss it and to merge over in a lane and be in danger, right? And that's kind of similar as the difference between having a coach versus not having a coach. It's like you can still drive and you can still get yourself there, but you need to be very, very, very diligent and aware of your surroundings when you do that, versus how helpful is that little sensor when you're getting ready to merge over, and that little sensor lights up in orange or red or whatever, and it's like, oh wait, don't merge yet. Don't get over because someone is right there. That's kind of what having a coach is like. It's like, oh, wait. Do you see this thought? Do you see how this is going to create this result? Like, you're telling me you want a different result. So we need to clean this part up first in order for you to get where you're trying to go, because your brain is trying to sneakily self-sabotage. So that's just a little, something to keep in mind if you know that you keep taking yourself off track and you want it to be different, because your brain is not really designed to help you. It's there to keep you in the safest position possible. So it doesn't really want you to do more that's going to, bring awareness to something that you have to spend a good amount of energy trying to change. Okay, so again, it's asking yourself the question, who do I need to be? And something that is kind of an add-on to this question is putting your goal in mind. So for instance, my clients that I coach will, let's say a money goal as well, because this is just easier. If I'm looking at where they're currently at in their business, and let's say their business is bringing in $150,000 a year, but they tell me that they want their business to grow to maybe $300,000 a year. The difference in how I coach them will be, explaining to them that they're showing up with their $150,000 brain. And they're going to have to think differently to reach their $300,000 self. So we do self-concept work in asking the questions, who do I need to be? And what would I be doing if I already believed I was at $300,000? What would be different than what I'm doing now? And their brain has to work on reverse engineering and actually using its skill set to go into the future, think about their $300,000 self-concept, and build the skill and the action plan from that place. And then from their $150,000 self, or whatever income level that they're at, they then have to make those decisions as their $300,000 self right now as their $150,000 self, right? So for instance, for me, if I am building my business to 225,000 or whatever, I'm just making up a number for now, I'm going to have to think like that version of me right now. But first, I have to figure out how that version of me would show up. What would she do differently than what I'm doing now? And then I have to embody her. And it requires a different level of skills and a different level of awareness and more energy for my brain. So I know that my brain is going to want to lack discipline and, want to procrastinate and want to be non-committal to that version of myself. And so again, as I was saying earlier, it's important to say, hey brain, I see you. I know that you're trying to protect me. I know that you would rather me stay exactly where I am. It's easy. We don't have to think about it. We've accomplished where we're at once. We can do that again. It can become this effortless thing to stay exactly where we're at because now we have the blueprint. However, I am building a bigger blueprint or a different version of this blueprint. And so I'm going to need you to come along with me, right? In this different level of skill. And it's challenging for our brain. Our brain wants to fight. And again, that's why having someone in your corner that knows where you're trying to go and they can see all of the ways that your brain tries to sabotage you is so vital. So just something to keep in mind. And then the last question that I want to bring to your attention is asking yourself, what is the payoff? You have to know why you're doing something or why you want something. Otherwise, it's just kind of like your brain doesn't really care, right? So why are you building the business? Why are you losing the weight? Why are you wanting to be a more present parent? Why do you want your relationship to be, maybe stronger with your significant other? Why do you want to heal your past? Why do you want to heal your relationship with your mother or your father or both? Why are you doing what you're doing? Or why do you want to? You need to know the payoff that you're going to get on the other side of doing this work. Your brain wants that, reward. It wants to know why it's putting in so much work and effort. And if it doesn't feel clear on the payoff and it doesn't have a good reason for why you would want something, you're going to find it really easy to stop being committed. You're going to find it easy to not be disciplined and to procrastinate. So an example of this is when I started the podcast. I started the podcast with the idea that I'd probably do, I'd commit to 25 episodes or something like that. And then I'd see how I felt. And if I loved it, I'd keep going. And if I didn't love it, I'd quit, right? And what's so funny about that is thinking about this work right here, staying disciplined and committed and making sure I didn't procrastinate. My payoff was, what if this helps other people in the world? What if the coaching that I've invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in actually helps someone else for free? What if they could be light years ahead of me because they have tools for free that I paid thousands and thousands of dollars to work through? That was a payoff for me. It was a payoff of thinking about you all who may be struggling, who may be in hard financial times like I was when I was scraping money together to hire my coach, right? And thinking gosh, every bit of free content my coach did, I appreciated so much. And it kickstarted even my ability and desire to invest in myself and to step into the woman that could invest and become the woman I am today. And so I wanted a resource resource that was free for people out in the world. And that was an amazing payoff. And then the second payoff is, what if one day the podcast draws in people who become clients, right? And I'm able to help them one-on-one or with my offers. That would be amazing. What if I meet all of these amazing people and I'm able to help them fulfill their dreams and heal their hardships and their pain and all of that. And so that thinking of that payoff was so, mind-blowing for me, that it has allowed me to show up 100 and I think 81 weeks in a row, I think is what this episode is, or maybe 182, I don't know. But that's how many weeks I have shown up. And it's because I always think of the payoff of who you all get to become with this free resource, and who you get to become when you go above this free resource, right? And invest in yourself and learn the skills that you need to go out in the world and be the best version of yourself, despite what your brain tries to do in keeping you safe. And that's an amazing thing. So you really want to get clear on what the payoff is. Same thing with any business goals or money goals. It's not enough to say, like, I want to make $1 million, right? Your brain is like, whatever. What's that going to do? Like, why would you even make a goal that big? Like, we're comfortable, right? So you have to know the payoff. What will you do when you make $1 million? And that could be like, someone's mission for that could be, I will invest in more charities, or I will, take my family on more experiences, or I'll be able to hire people and provide a dream job for them, where they get to have flexible hours and amazing pay. Like, you need to know what the payoff is for why you're deciding to do the thing that you say you want to do. Because your brain is going to need to use that for all of the hard days where it's also saying, stay in bed, don't get up, don't do the thing that you need to do, because it's just so painful and it's just so hard, and it's going to require a different version of us. And we don't want to be a different version of us. We like this version. Like, even if you don't like this version of us, we like this version of us. That's what our brain tries to do. So my advice for you, again, is asking yourself, why don't I want it? Whatever thing that you're saying you want. Who do I need to be in order to get it? So what would you do as that version of yourself? What actions would you take as that version that you want to be? And what is the payoff? So knowing why you would do all of those challenging new things on a daily basis that feel mundane and feel hard, or you don't want to do them, that's really important, is knowing the payoff of why would you put yourself through the growth? It's easier not to grow. I always commend my clients and tell them I'm so proud of them. I really am moved to tears whenever I see them changing their life, because a lot of times my clients will tell me it's not moving fast enough, or I'm not making progress, or, I wish it was going faster, or I don't feel like it's working. And they a lot of times dismiss how far they've come because it's not as fast as they've wanted it to be. And they just dismiss so much of their power and what they've done. And for me, watching on the sidelines, right, and cheering them on every step of the way, I see everything that's changing in their life. And sometimes their brain is just really, really mean to them. And again, they need someone to point out how far they've come. Because once we go through everything that they've worked on and everything that they've changed from that first consult call, where people usually show up kind of a mess, to, the end of maybe their contract or the beginning of another thing that they're getting ready to start together with me, it's like there are light years and light years of growth. And I'm moved to tears in how proud I am of them for walking themselves through. But it's amazing how the brain is such a bully sometimes. And it's like, I don't think that we're doing much. And it's like, oh my goodness. So we have to be on to our brain, because again, it wasn't created for you to have this happy, amazing, fulfilling life. Like, is that possible in your life? 1000%. Is that what your brain was designed to do for you? No. Your brain was designed for you to have the most simple, easy, don't have to think about it, don't need to spend energy on it, protect yourself in a bubble, protect yourself from harm life. That's what your brain was actually designed to do, is survive. Okay? So if you don't want to live a life where it just feels like survival, and you want to create a life that feels, very just, fun, exciting, happy, fulfilling, you want to go do things and experience things. You want to take this life that you have and whatever time you have left and just see what's possible. You're going to have to know and be onto your brain that it doesn't want that for you. So if you want that for you, you're going to have to fight like hell to get it. And if you're having trouble holding yourself accountable in doing so, then hire a coach. It doesn't even have to be me, right? But hire someone that you resonate with, that you really, really trust, and show up for yourself. It is not going to be easy. It's going to feel tough. It's going to stretch you because your brain doesn't want you to do it. But if you will, and if you will stick to it, you have the world at your fingertips, because the only thing keeping you from everything you want is you. Nobody else can keep it from you. We think that external things can keep us from it, but really it's what's happening in us internally that keeps us from everything we want. So address what's happening internally, and everything externally becomes available to you. Both internally, like the peace and the happiness, but the external things as well. Okay? All right. I hope this episode was helpful. Thank you to the 3 people that submitted these 3 topics. And stay tuned for a masterclass on another amazing topic. Go to MacyRenee.com. Make sure you're on my email list, and you will get details soon of how to attend for free. And then last but not least, if you are thinking about joining the hybrid experience, where we do all of the work about who you need to be and how to get yourself there, I highly encourage you to check out the hybrid experience on MacyRenee.com and join during early enrollment if you need a payment plan to get yourself in the room. Have an amazing week. I will talk to you soon. Hey there. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. If you'd like to connect on social media, you can find me on both Instagram and Facebook at Macy Renee Coaching. And if you want to stay up to date on all of my offers, announcements, and inspirational emails, you can join my email list at MacyRenee.com. In addition, if there's a way that I can further support you in your coaching journey, you can schedule a free 60-minute consult at MacyRenee.com anytime you want, so we can discuss the best options for you. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.